a sex demon, a sex angel, and a demonic seed. This is the blend. This is the differences. And it's always pointed to the same energy, but it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. It's how you're directing the entry and the entrance when you're putting these energies out here. Because you're always creating, you're always expanding, and whatever you're expanding and creating, you have what it takes inside of you to make that a possibility. Now, depending on who you're associating yourself with, depending on who you are interacting with, these are going to be the biggest outcomes that's going to objectify and centrify on how these things going to play out. See, when you hear the word sex demon, it may sound like someone that's just deeply rooted into their desire. And it's pretty much that is the case. But you have individuals that would basically go a step further ahead to put themselves into situations of just planting bad seeds. That's how you look at it. See, it's one thing to be in your desires, and it's another to make sure that desire is worth the while. Because every desire got an expiration date. Every desire that you lustfully want to initiate and bring that spark towards, that imagination, that brightest hemisphere, is always going to be put into a situation where that shit going to be transformed. So you got to really look at your desires and pay attention to these things. You have to question these things. You got to always question this shit. Because you don't want to have an Adam and Eve situation. Look at it like this. We're going to use a prime example of this video. When Adam and Eve ate the fruits, they, quote unquote, spirit, now, they spirit came up to them and say, yo, where y'all at? What's going on? Like, what's happening? Now, you see how Adam and Eve was pointing fingers at each other, saying, oh, nah, it was this person fault, that person fault. Take that into consideration when you and your desires and shit. And you're just out here raw dogging, having fun, not giving a fuck. And of course, you're having the most funnest position in your life. So you had put yourself into a hemisphere and got lost into your imagination and realized that you pretty much said you pulled out, but you ain't pull out. This put you into a situation of saying, oh, by the way, I thought I pull out. Oh, nah, I ain't ready to have this child, or I ain't ready to do this, quote unquote. This puts you into a situation of being afraid and being scared and putting yourself into that holistic state. So take that into consideration when you in your desires too much, when you overindulging into too many desires at a higher totality. This is going to basically elaborate and basically create a receipt for you to let you know all the receipts and all the things that you would basically dive in head first with. You have to be very careful when you're out here wilding, knowing that you in your desires, knowing that you ain't got a point or a purpose or a direction where you want to aim your desire towards. You're just aiming your desire and basically being very reckless with it. So this puts you into a situation of being a sex demon. Someone that's overindulging into their deep desires. So this put them into situations of basically taking things to the next step, taking things to the next extremes, and of course not giving a fuck. But when they get that plan, coming going on and shit, and this puts you into situations of realizing that okay, you was doing too much and you was basically out here wilding. So you gotta know that if it's really worth the while, you would know not to put yourself into that situation. You would know how to basically have self-discipline and not basically be out here wilding. Now, when it comes to a demon child, a child that's a demon, 10 times out of 10, this plays out into positions where, you know, if a woman was like pretty much had got into a situation where she was raped, and was a situation where the woman was not in a comfortable state, and the man that was doing it was being very rough. So this put them into the situation of a tug of war, like a battle. It's like a war, and of course, the energies is not matching. So what happened was, when the person that raped the woman, this played out into a situation where this child has not been loved, this child was not nurtured, this child was not cared for, this child was brought into this world on some wild shit and some transformational shit. 10 times out of 10, sex is transformation, but it was on some reckless shit. It was on some shit where this is not what it's supposed to be seen like. Or it'll be some situations where, like, it'll play out into you adopting sperm or some shit. So if you ever adapt sperm or something, and of course you gave your sperm away, no love was entitled. The child wasn't catered for. The child wasn't cared. And it's one thing to basically take care of a child when they start to grow up through that situation. But it's like, however, like it's you got to put it like this: that child gonna need a whole lot of caring. That child gonna need a whole lot of rebuilding, because this put them into a situation where they wasn't pretty much catered towards loving. They wasn't catered towards being taken care of or being planned to be into this world with a parent, with a co-parent, with a mother or father. See, if you're always in a situation of separating and detaching, this is always going to bring the hurt. This is always going to bring the pain. This is always going to bring the separation and downfalls. Because if you ain't got the masculine and feminine within that child life to basically bring the balance, then it's going to be unbalanced. That means it's going to be masculine and feminine together, which is going to bring misunderstandings. It's going to bring unsureness. It's going to bring situations where it put them into situations of being confused, and it put them into all kind of chaotic situations. So you got to really question things. You have to be very careful and know what you're doing out here, especially when you're putting yourself into that situation. Now, for all rapists, y'all will be headed. Just know that. But we talking about a situation so where, you have to be very careful of what you're doing out here, because your desires have consequences. And it's not only the consequence to the people that you're basically affecting, but it's most importantly to that child that you're bringing into this world. And always know and always remember too, for the father that's not being in someone's life, for the child's life, they're always gonna go to hell, no matter how you look at it, no matter how it plays out. You're always gonna have a responsibility, because you're more aware of enough. You're more aware now, so you should know what's right and wrong, and what you should and what you should not be doing. So let's put them into a situation of putting blood on their hands by doing shit like that. So it may seem like you think you're getting away, but 10 times out of 10, you have a big ass cloud over your head, a Joe cloud over your head, and that cloud will keep following you. And when it keeps following you, this puts you into a situation of you getting trapped into that cloud. When you get trapped into somewhere, it's playing out with your mind. It's playing out with the things you're feeling about, and it's playing out into a whole lot of magnitudes, which it'll catch up to you regardless. You're going to feel these energies. Feel me? Whether you have a soul or not, you're going to feel it. It's going to get you no matter how you play it. Feel me? Because you're already in the energy. You're already in the vibe. And knowing that you already have a responsibility out here, once you leave your gifts unnurtured, then this puts you into situations of this shit will always follow you like a ghost. So you're never going to get away from that circumstance. You're never going to get away from that situation. So you should always have keys to mind that your actions needs a better requirement. And of course, if you're not in that situation, and you put yourself into that energy of getting transformed, or even worse. 10 times out of 10, individuals that's out here that's doing the raping shit, they're not even from this world. These motherfuckers probably had some insecurities that they basically didn't get a lot of attention. They didn't get a lot of things when they was a child or children. So it plays out into a huge magnitude of baggage, insecurities that they basically hold within inside them. And of course, they feel the need to basically replenish and put themselves out there into the world to make it seem like, okay, this is how they're going to get their revenge, taking that out on other innocent people. But no, that's not cool, and that's not right. So if you ever put yourself into that situation of experiencing, you would know what to do up front and personal. So you can't just be out here wilding and using your insecurities to be thrown on other individuals just because you didn't basically get what you needed or wanted. I mean, this plays out into all levels. Almost to the point people had a whole lot of bulliness going on into their life, where individuals just wanted to pick on them, and of course they held that in. So nowadays, being that they didn't take care of that situation, that soul, that baggage, they brought it to everybody else. They brought it to everyone else's situation. It's like basically putting yourself into a situation of catching HIV/AIDS or some shit. Now, you may not know you had this shit. Just like that movie Kids, 1995. You may not know he had the HIV/AIDS, but he was just out here wilding. Just giving it all the girls and not giving a fuck. Road dog and everything. Feel me? Now, he wasn't even in the right situation to basically say, by the way, maybe this girl might have some shit. See, he was just out here wilding. Fucking with no regrets. Feel me? Out here bugging. Well, this puts you into situations of consequences always gonna have actions. Feel me? Also, You gotta look into that perspective. But now, when we're talking about an angel, a sex angel, this is an individual that's know exactly where their focus is. These are individuals that know what it takes to basically make things happen, and of course, light as possible. Not too deeply into their desires, but they know exactly what's going on. They in their desires, but they not into the desire, rooted desire, where they get deeply rooted into their desire. No, they creating their own roots. They putting in the work, and of course, they building a seed with an individual. Just like how squirrels go out here searching and get their own shit. This is what you call a squirrel that's not a consumer. Now, being a consumer means you're just out here wilding. You're just out here fucking with no regrets. And of course, when it comes down to the point of you struggling now, just because you ain't put yourself into a situation of knowing ahead that you wasn't ready for these responsibilities, this makes you a consumer. And this is how they come after you, your children, and of course, this is how they put you into some kind of medical rehab, as for you to basically keep coming back to their hospitals, for you to basically keep coming back into their programs, to make sure that they money is being fulfilled. No matter how I look at it, they're gonna make money off you regardless. Really? You have to be real careful. You have to be real careful right now, especially putting yourself out there in that situation. Feel me? Now, anybody tell you to not have no children, but just know that times like this, your best bet is to do things in the natural way, do things your way, do things in your own way. Because if you don't know how to do the smallest, simplest things, it's put you into situations where you will always be told what to do. Almost to the point that you become a robot. You become a sheep, which means that you're being controlled. And of course, motherfucking pigs and parasites is always going to be expecting for someone to basically come take care of their ass, or come help their ass, or come feed their ass, or provide their ass with a 9 to 5. See, it's one thing to basically be aware and grow up into some things, but the moment you basically stay stuck into one situation for too long, you know how that shit plays out. You know how that shit goes. So you got to basically get yourself out that situation, get yourself out that circumstance. And of course, it'll basically better help you later down the line. You won't be in a situation of transformation. You won't be in a situation of getting transformed just because there's a lot of population, just because there's a lot of bodies out here. So you have to be real careful. Now let's take us back to the sex angel. Now with a sex angel, this is an individual, or these are individuals right here where they plan to have a child, and they planned the situation out. They planned it out. They said, by the way, we're gonna have a child, but we're not just gonna come up with the idea of wanting or needing a child. This child right here, this child is gonna basically bring us gifts. This child is gonna be an angel. This child is gonna be a heavenly god or goddess. That's how you can basically play out to that position. See, now, if you're always in that gratitude, if you're always in that energy of bringing godly children into this world, the stars got no choice but to basically make that happen. They're going to always bring a gift inside this world, especially if you're working in that kind of energy and that element. Nowadays, what's going on is the parents are single and everyone's separating and things of that matter. So it's like, but what kind of like future that are we setting for our kids right now? So this put us in situations of basically out here wilding, having sex, and of course, when things get tough, the individual leave or something bad happens, and then put them into situations of saying, by the way, okay, now that child is gonna have some problems growing up. Oh, y'all was just fucking for y'all desires. Y'all ain't have a point to say, by the way, if we are gonna do this, we're gonna make sure this is gonna be a fruitation. We're not gonna have an Adam and Eve situation. But if we do have a situation like that, it's going to get cleaned up. And of course, that's where it comes to parental strength. You got to be a strong parent. And you got to change that child. But of course, this is going to be a gift. And of course, you will never be less, but you'll be more. So, as long as you take care of your responsibilities and taking care of that child, everything will work in your favor. Everything will basically be a gratitude towards you. And you won't put yourself into situations of always looking over your shoulders, because you're always going to be protected. Because you are taking care of your creativity, your seed, your child. Of course, children is important. Children is strong. Don't think it's a mistake. Yeah, you may see some ups and downs, but of course, there's always going to be the sun rotating, bringing on a new, better day. It's going to be some cloudy days, going to be some rainy days, going to be some thundering days, and of course, there's going to be some sunny days. But you got to pick and choose who you bringing into this world, the angel or demon.